Hi, Idris Elba here, and in this video I'm going to be doing a review for The Jungle Book. Jungle Book, I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar and aware of the story. You know, Mowgli is found in the jungle as a young kid. He's found by Bagheera, he's raised by the wolves. Shere Khan comes, you know, there's conflict there. You know, he goes and meets Baloo, King Louie, and there's the conflict with Shere Khan at the end. I think everyone's kind of familiar and aware of the story of The Jungle Book. Before I get into the review of this film, I just have to say that I just absolutely love the classic original Disney film that came out in 1967. I just grew up with that film. Those classic Disney films are just an encapsulation of my childhood. I just grew up with all those classic Disney films, and they're just such a big part of my life, and I feel so close to them, especially The Jungle Book. I absolutely loved it as a kid. I still really love it now. Ordinarily, when they do like live action remakes of classic Disney films, I'm kind of against it, and I don't really like the end product usually. I'm thinking, why do they just have to remake that, and then they end up just completely changing it and just ruining it, and it just like Snow White and the Huntsman. What was all that about? You know, why couldn't we have just had a really true to the original live-action adaptation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? They just had to completely mess it up and just, I don't know. But with The Jungle Book, what I was really surprised about, and what I was really liked from the look of the trailers, was that it looked like it was going to be so close to the Disney original. It looked like such a true adaptation of the original Disney film, and it just looked so great in the trailer. So I was really looking forward to going to seeing it. And thankfully, I was not disappointed. This new Jungle Book movie was just absolutely fantastic. In my opinion, it was just flawless all round. Every single aspect involved in this film was perfect. They just nailed every single aspect. Honestly, it was great. Because like I said, even though I was really looking forward to going to see this film because it just looked so great in the trailers, and there's been really good positive buzz around it, everyone was saying it was so great, I still have reservations of whether it'd be able to pull it off as well as I was hoping they'd be able to, because not only was the classic original Disney film so great, I had reservations about whether they'd be able to, you know, really nail it, and they did. Jon Favreau did such a great job with this film, and I think one of the biggest positives I can give this film was that it struck the perfect balance between recapturing the magic of the original, staying true to the spirit and the essence of the original, whilst at the same time making changes and additions that just enhanced the story and just improved upon the film overall. And I think that was what was just so great about The Jungle Book, because with so many Disney animated to live action adaptations, I mean, there's some that work, but on the whole, they mostly don't really work too well. Snow White and Huntsman, the 2010 Alice in Wonderland was okay, I suppose, and Maleficent. They just seem to take the Disney animated film and just completely change it and muck it up and just ruin it. Whereas with The Jungle Book, there were changes and alterations and additions here and there, but on the whole, it was so true to the original Disney film. It really recaptured that magic and that feeling you got when you watched the original. For me anyway, it was really in the spirit and essence of the original. But like I said, at the same time, they had these little changes and additions here and there that weren't detrimental to the story, but in actual fact enhanced the story, improved upon certain plot points and certain character arcs or whatever here and there. I don't want to mention anything specific in fear of spoiling anything, but we kind of seen this glimpse in some of the trailers. Shere Khan's motivation for why he wants Mowgli dead, why he's so, you know, determined to get this kid. Because obviously in the original, there's no real kind of reasoning or explanations given as to why Shere Khan hates man, why he's afraid of fire, why he wants Mowgli dead so much. There's no real reasoning or explanations given. But in this film, they answer those questions. They give a reason as to why Shere Khan hates man, why he's afraid of fire, and why he wants Mowgli dead. And that's all really shown and explained to us all in one scene, really. And it's just done so well, because that was one of the things that was kind of missing from the original Disney film. And they put that into this film, and it just makes it all the more stronger. And it adds, you know, more kind of depth to it as well, because we understand where Shere Khan's coming from. We understand why he hates man so much. We also understand why he's so afraid of fire, why he doesn't like fire, and also why he wants Mowgli dead so much. So just that, for example, just how they added something new that wasn't in the Disney original, but it didn't take away from the original, it enhanced the original, just improved upon the story and the film overall. And I think that just works so well, and I think other Disney animated to live action adaptations should really take a note from the Jungle Book's book, because it just did it so perfectly. It felt very much like the original animated film, but yet at the same time it had new things that they integrated here and there that just made it even better. You know, I think it did everything the original animated film did, but better and more. And I think that was just what was so good about this film, and it really blew me away in that respect. And another one of the biggest positives I have to give this film is, of course, the visuals. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about how fantastic this film is from a visual standpoint, and it absolutely is. This is probably one of the best CGI heavy films I've seen since Avatar, I would say. And it probably has the best use of realistic looking CGI since Life of Pi. I know also another film that had kind of really very realistic looking animals heavily involved in the story. And strangely enough, I know a film that involved an Indian boy and a tiger and a relationship they had, but a very different kind of relationship there. But yeah, it blew my mind, you know, because I knew it was going to be good because I'd seen the trailers and it looked great in there. And I'd seen the trailers in the cinema as well, it looked great on the big screen, and everyone was talking about how great it was visually. But this film really is a miraculous visual achievement. I mean, we've seen very CGI heavy movies before with the likes of Avatar and stuff like that. But with this film, it was absolutely incredible in the fact that when you really think about it, the kid playing Mowgli is the only live action element in this film. Absolutely everything else, I mean, maybe there were some like practical props here and there that Mowgli interacts with, but absolutely everything else was CGI, was not there. Virtually the entire film was, you know, filmed on like a green screen stage studio in America or something, and just that kid playing Mowgli, and everything else was CGI, and it was just so incredible because you're watching the film, and I'm going in knowing that it's all fake, that nothing's actually real apart from the kid playing Mowgli, but I'm watching it, I'm like, this just looks so incredibly good. And I'm thinking at first, yeah, this is so good considering it's not real, this is so good, and it just got to a point where I just completely forgot that it wasn't real. It ended up kind of convincing me that it was real, even though I knew going in, I knew in the back of my mind it wasn't real. It gets to that point where it goes out of your head, you just forget about it, and you just become so immersed into the world of the film, and you're so engaged and invested in this story and with these characters that it just completely leaves your mind that it's not real. It's just so totally convincing, unbelievable that this is a real world, that they're filming real locations or real animals. It just looks that incredibly good. I mean, literally everything, or the animals are CGI, or the locations, or the backdrops, the different environments, everything is just like CGI, and it just looks, the level of detail in this film is astonishing. We'd often get cutaways just seeing a little creature, just something real random, like just seeing a little creature crawling on a tree or scuttling across the floor or something, and it just, every single little thing, like every single little creature and element in the film was just so fantastically well realised. There wasn't one thing that was like, that didn't look too good, or they dropped the ball on that bit, that didn't look too... Literally, every single little thing was just flawlessly executed from a visual standpoint. The animals, oh my god, the animals. The backdrops and the different environments and locations, the fact that they looked as realistic as they did was obviously a big achievement. But the animals, because obviously I've seen films before where they've had realistic looking animals and they had the mouse moving and the people talking as these animals, and it's never worked for me before in the past. I think the exception would probably be Babe. Obviously it's a very different kind of film, but obviously a film like Racing Stripes where it has real animals but their mouths are moving and it's like people talking and it just doesn't work. It just always seemed off, and it just never seemed to gel, it never seemed to work, it just didn't seem right. But it was in this film they really nailed it, and they really sold it so well, and it really won me over because they're not real animals. You know, obviously it's CGI, but they're so realistic looking, and with the mouse moving and with the actors talking, their voices as these characters. It was all done so well and all gelled together so well. It was honestly like we were watching real animals actually talking. It was done that well and it was that convincing and that believable. It just got to a point where it was like you were just watching real animals actually talking. Like, for instance, the wolves. It just looked like you were watching real wolves, but wolves that were actually talking. I just can't say enough good things about the visuals of this film. It just looked absolutely fantastic. Also, of course, another big positive is the performances by the cast. Obviously, we only have one live action character in this film, and that is Neel Sethi, a newcomer who's playing Mowgli. And I have to admit, one of my only reservations and worries really going into the film was this kid going to be that good? Because obviously the kid playing Mowgli needs to be a good actor because he's the main character. It all revolves around him. The entire story, the entire film revolves around Mowgli. So if this kid wasn't a good actor, who he didn't really sell it to us, it would have fallen apart. It probably would have ruined the whole film. But this kid was so good. Considering he hasn't been in any film before, this was his first film, he did such a good job. And not only that, he's the only thing in this film that's real. He is acting to virtually nothing, you know, and the fact that he's acting to CGI characters and locations and environments that aren't there was astonishing to me, because it's hard for some adult professional actors to do that. And the fact that this kid actor did such a good job, considering this is his first film and he was acting to virtually nothing. He did it so well, because like I said, I was worried going in whether he would be that great of an actor, whether he would kind of let it down in that way, but he didn't. He brought it so well, and he was one of the standouts, I would say. I mean, the performance isn't anything spectacular, but he really kind of nailed it. It wasn't like you're watching some awkward, uncomfortable, unexperienced kid actor on the screen. It was like you were actually watching Mowgli. He did such a good job in that role as that character. It was like the Mowgli cartoon character from the original film who brought to life in this live action film, and I really can't think of who else they could have got to do a better job as he did. I mean, I think he was the perfect choice. He just really nailed it. He really brought it in his performance. He really sold it, because there's so many scenes, whether it's a fun and adventurous scene, whether it's a dramatic, emotional scene, and he really brought his A game, and he really helped sell it to us, because it was so important, him being the only live action element in this film. If he hadn't been that good, it would have let the film down in a big way, but he did such an incredible job at really selling it to us. Him interacting with these CGI characters, with him interacting with him, just in this environment that wasn't actually there. He did such a good job at, making it feel to us as if he was in this world. He was there interacting with these characters, and I have to give massive props to this new young up-and-coming actor, Neel Sethi, because he did such a great job, and I was worried whether he wouldn't be that great going in, but he did the best job he possibly could have done as the character of Mowgli. And also onto, of course, the incredible cast of voice actors in this film. We have Bill Murray as Baloo, we have Ben Kingsley as Bagheera, we have Idris Elba as Shere Khan, Christopher Walken as King Louie, Lupita Nyong'o as Raksha, Scarlett Johansson as Kaa. Just an incredible cast of voice actors, and all of them were so great. Yet they were all the perfect choices, I think, for these characters. Starting with Bill Murray as Baloo. He was great. He was so great as Baloo. I mean, you can't really top the voice of Baloo from the original, but Bill Murray did such an incredible job. I think he was the perfect choice to play Baloo. I never would have thought of Bill Murray as Baloo, but when I first heard that he was going to play Baloo and first heard him in the trailers, I was like, that is perfect. And he did such a great job as the fun-loving kind of parent to Mowgli, if you will. And his scenes with Neel Sethi as Mowgli were great. Ben Kingsley, of course, as Bagheera, I absolutely loved. I thought he was fantastic. I can't think of anyone else that could have done the voice as good as he did. I may have even liked him as Bagheera more than I liked the voice of Bagheera in the Disney original, because I don't know, there was just something about Ben Kingsley's performance in this. Bill Murray as Baloo was fantastic. It was great, don't get me wrong, but there was just something about Ben Kingsley as Bagheera, I don't know, because Bagheera has never really been my favourite character, but I have, liked Bagheera as a character. But there was just something about what Ben Kingsley brought to the role in this film, in terms of his voice and his performance that he brought in just his voice alone. I don't know, I really kind of connected with Bagheera in this film, in a kind of an emotional relatable way that I never really did in the original. I think that was in part due to Ben Kingsley's performance, even though it was just his voice. What I liked about the original, and what I think was probably done even better this time round, is the whole kind of thing that, Baloo and Bagheera are kind of like these kind of surrogate parents to Mowgli, if you will. We got one that's kind of the fun, loving, relaxed, laid-back, carefree parent, and the other one that's the more kind of grumpy, strict parent in Bagheera, and I really like that contrast there. It really made me think about the Jungle Book. I never really thought about the Jungle Book in this way before, but I realised after seeing these two characters, presented in this way in live action with these voices, it struck me in a way that I'd never really considered, in the fact that the Jungle Book really is kind of one of Disney's most human, relatable stories, and that never really occurs to me before. The fact that we got these two parent-like figures to Mowgli, these two very different characters that kind of complement one another, and they have contrasting relationships that they have with Mowgli, and how that is a really big part of the film. It's actually very human and very relatable and very emotional in a way that I'd never really thought about before, and I thought it was just done so well in this film. Bill Murray as Baloo, his relationship with Mowgli, Ben Kingsley as Bagheera, his relationship with Mowgli, the scenes they all have together, it was just fantastic. It was just so well done. Also, Idris Elba as Shere Khan was great as well, because as much as I love the voice of Shere Khan in the original, he's more of just like a kind of just an angry and annoyed, agitated, posh Englishman, where in this, he's still got the English accent, obviously, but with Idris Elba's voice, it's more powerful, it's more fearsome, it's more monstrous, it's more aggressive, and it's more evil and menacing, which was kind of missing from the original. I mean, the original, he's very kind of foreboding, he's very kind of like loud and, has this big presence to him, in a kind of dramatic way. But in this film, he has that kind of ferocity and that aggressiveness that he didn't really have in the original, that Idris Elba brought in just his voice performance. And there was some scenes that even took me off guard. There was a scene in particular that made even me jump. I was like, whoa, that caught me by surprise. I mean, he does bring that kind of scariness and ferociousness and monstrousness to Shere Khan that was kind of missing from the original, which was more cartoony, which was more child-free. I mean, it's not really intensely horrific and scary, but because it obviously is more like watching a real tiger, and then Idris Elba's voice as well, it does get quite scary, maybe a little bit for kids, but I don't think it got too scary or too, violent or anything, but I think he did a great job at really selling the kind of ferociousness of the character to us in just his voice performance alone. And I also really like Lupita Nyong'o as Raksha, the wolf mother, because the wolves don't really have that big of a role in the original. They're kind of there at the beginning, and they raise Mowgli, and then he kind of leaves them and they're gone. But in this, they have a much bigger role in the beginning of the film and throughout the whole film, really, and I like that because they are the ones who raise Mowgli, and they are like the only family he's ever known other than Bagheera. And I really liked Lupita Nyong'o as Raksha. I just really love Lupita Nyong'o's voice. I think she's got a great voice, and she's able to kind of like change her voice. She was also Maz Kanata in Star Wars The Force Awakens, which was a very different character, a very different voice. But I think she did a great job here as the Eternal Mother, the Raksha, and how she was felt very close to Mowgli, like he was kind of like her adopted son, and I think she did a great job. And also Scarlett Johansson as Kaa, and this is one of the big ones that I was thinking, I don't really know about that, because obviously Kaa has a male voice in the original, but then again, the voice in the original is it's so distinctive and so iconic. I don't think any male actor they found could have recaptured that or done anything anywhere near as good as that. So in a way, I'm kind of glad they went a different route and made Kaa a female voice. And I also kind of like Scarlett Johansson's voice performance as Kaa, because even though it's female, it still has that same quality as it's very kind of unnerving and assuring and kind of seductive and alluring, yet deadly and dangerous at the same time. And I think she captured that really well in her voice performance. And also, of course, Christopher Walken as King Louie, I think he did a great job. His voice was just perfect for King Louie. There isn't much else to say other than the fact that, Christopher Walken as King Louie was just great. In this new film, he's not an orangutan per se, but he's a Gigantopithecus, which was kind of like this gigantic orangutan-like ape species, which was like the biggest ape that ever existed, which is more accurate actually, because orangutans don't actually come from India, but the Gigantopithecus did. And I was thinking, how are they going to work that into the film? Because they're going to have to mention he's a Gigantopithecus, because otherwise the majority of people are going to be like, why the hell is this orangutan so massive? But then I was thinking, how the hell are they going to mention that without it just seeming like it's just telling us as the audience? And the way they do it is just really clever. They do it in a really clever, interesting and ingenuitive way, which I didn't expect, how they mention that he's a Gigantopithecus. I won't say how they do it, but you'll just have to wait until you see the film. And also, of course, the next film I've got to talk about is the songs. There were only a couple of songs, the main two really. I won't say which two they are, you can probably guess, but it was another thing that I was kind of worried about, the songs, how they were going to work the songs into the film, because the Disney film, it's essentially a musical. It's song after song. It's really just going from character to character, to song. But in this, obviously, it's not a musical. It's more of a family action adventure film. And the way in which they interwork these two songs, I think, was really good. I mean, it doesn't go full-blown musical, but it works well, because you think, seeing as the rest of the film there is no songs, they might seem a little out of place, but they don't. It felt natural. It felt that the way they transitioned into the songs and how the song came into being and how it played a part in a certain scene, in a certain part of the story, it worked well. It felt natural. It didn't feel like jarring or out of place at all, and I think they did a really good job in interworking those two songs into the story and into the film in a way that did feel natural and organic and didn't feel forced and out of place, which it could have done. It's the two probably most recognisable songs, but they slightly changed them and to make them work within this new film, and it's done in a way that works really well. How they changed some of the lines and slightly altered, but it's still like the classic songs you know and love. And another one of the biggest things that I really liked about this film was that it nailed every single aspect so brilliantly. Like it had everything there, and it did everything so well. Like it didn't drop the ball on anything. It had everything you would want there for a new Jungle Book movie, as well as having all the spectacle with the action, the drama. It also had the heart and the humour, the emotion. It had everything there. It did everything all so well. It nailed every single aspect. It had all the required elements there. It all came together so well. I think Jon Favreau did such a great job with this film. You can tell that he is a big fan of the Jungle Book. He does have a great love for the Disney original and a great respect for the books as well, because it just all came together so perfectly and so eloquently in a way which it just felt like the perfect reimagining of the Jungle Book. Like, it's just so crazy to me. Like, growing up, seeing the original Disney cartoon as a kid, I was absolutely loving it, and now growing up seeing this new reimagining on the big screen, it's just great. It's like my whole life has been leading to this moment. Seeing that original Disney cartoon as a kid and absolutely loving it and growing up with it, and then seeing this new one on the big screen now grown up, it was just spectacular. It was everything I wanted from a new Jungle Book movie. Like I said, it had the action and the adventure, the spectacle, but it also had the drama. This isn't just about fun and action and spectacle. It had the moments of genuine drama in there, and that's what I liked about this new Jungle Book movie, and probably what it did even better than the original. I mean, there are moments of emotion in the original, but the story this time around, it had more depth, it had more layers, it had more to it than the original, because as great as the original was, the story, there wasn't a lot to the story. Like I said, it just went from characters to characters, to song, to set piece to set piece, and the story was, it was a little iffy, but here the story is so much stronger. Like I said, they add things to it that just enhance upon the story overall and just make it so much more well-rounded and so much more fleshed out. It adds depth, it adds layers. Honestly, it did everything so well. And like I said, it had the emotion there, like the original. It really captured the emotion so eloquently and so beautifully that there's moments in it that I was genuinely tearing up. I don't know if they were obviously emotional moments and if anybody else is getting emotional, but maybe it's just because I feel so close to the Jungle Book. It's in such a special place to me, the whole story and the characters, because there were just moments between characters that didn't have dialogue, and I was like tearing up. I don't know why. Obviously I've got these nostalgia feels for the Jungle Book, but I don't think it was just that. It was because of the fact that the film was so well done. It provoked those reactions and responses from me in a way that I was really hoping it would, and I just loved it. Like I said, there was moments of real genuine drama and emotion in which I was almost tearing up on a few occasions throughout the film. I loved it that much, and honestly, I don't really have anything bad to say about this film. Throughout the whole film, I was smiling, I was laughing, I was crying, I was having so much fun. I really can't see how anyone could come out of this film not liking it. I just came out of the cinema just with a smile on my face. I just loved it so much. I struggle to think of any negatives I have about this film. I mean, I can probably nitpick little things here and there, but I don't want to. I can't be bothered to do that. There's not any major criticisms I have with this film. Like I said, I could nitpick if I really wanted to, but really, on the whole, I loved every single thing about this film. I think it did everything so well, everything as well as it could have done, and it really was the perfect reimagining of this film for a new audience, a new generation. It recaptured the magic of the original. It was really in the spirit and essence of the original, whilst at the same time making changes that just improved upon the film overall and just made it all the more rewarding to watch. There was a point in the film where I was like, I can't believe this, but I think this is one of the best action-adventure movies I've seen in such a long time. It really was the perfect family action-adventure film. One of the best pure action-adventure movies I've seen in such a long time. I'd really definitely recommend seeing this film if you're a fan of The Jungle Book, you're a fan of the original Disney cartoons, you're a fan of the books. Even if you're not really a fan, but just want a really good fun time, a real nice fun film that has action, adventure, heart, humour, emotion, it has everything. I think this is a film that everyone will like. Because I really couldn't see how anyone could not like this film. So there we go, I'm going to wrap this up now. I'm going to give The Jungle Book 5 stars. This really was, for me, the perfect Jungle Book movie. It had everything I would have wanted from a new Jungle Book movie. So there we go, that was my review for The Jungle Book. If you like this video, then make sure to click subscribe to see more. But for now, I've been David O'Sullivan. I'll see you next time.